Yesterday, we had an event that occurred outside the city limits of Burley in a small trailer park out on 183, in which there was subject killed 2 people out there, had 2 victims. And as this progressed, the police officer arrived, there was another shooting, in which the shooter was killed at this point. Which there were shots fired by a concerned citizen, which had lived in the trailer park and had picked up a pistol and gone back outside, and the police officer at the same time. It appears that the citizen had hit this subject in the leg as he was making ready to fire on the officer, which probably, I guess, accounted for breaking his concentration. Side picture at that point, the officer got out, the shot was fired in his direction. He retrieved the back of his vehicle, returned fire, and between the two, they incapacitated the subject and stopped the shooting situation. This apparently occurred over the people that were killed, the dog had been going over into his yard, and he made complaints about this, and evidently was pretty quick to anger anyway, based on what we got, and they'd had words over the dogs. He left, he'd gone over and talked to these people that had worked with the dog. He left the trailer, went back, got retrieved the pistol, came back and killed the male subject that lived there, the owner of the dogs, then killed the dogs, and then killed this guy's wife, the lady that lived with him. And then retreated back to his trailer. When the officer arrived, he then retrieved a .30-30 rifle, got behind a tree and made preparation to fire on the officer. This is when the citizen got the pistol and fired and hit him at that point. And as soon as the officer came out, the shot was fired in his direction, and then he started returning fire on his subject also. And this resolved the issue. It's a bad situation, I really want to commend the police officer for his response out there. He was an early PD officer responding to help our officers back up and got there before them. And the citizen that fired these shots did a tremendous job out there. Had he not had that gun in the presence of mind to do this, we don't know what the outcome would have been. This man did great service. And this investigation is continuing at this time, and we still don't know exactly how many times the shooter had been shot when they returned fire on him. They're doing autopsies in Travis County at this time, so we haven't got our response back, reports back on those at this point. And we'll know more as that comes in. We do feel pretty certain that the civilian and the officer both hit him. Also, there are going to be multiple shots that hit this subject. And there was multiple shots fired. I think he turned and fired one point at the citizen out there with that .30-30. 1 or 2, there were 3 rounds he got off with .30-30. We don't know exactly. Part of them went toward the police officer, part of them went toward the civilian that was firing on him. And we're still working all this out. I've got totally away from probably what we wrote on this, but that's basically the situation as I know. We're still trying to get the man and woman that were killed, their next of kin notified. We're making some headway on this. We have notified next of kin on the shooter.
Answer whatever questions.
We'll sort of answer questions now if y'all like, or however you want to do it.
Can you tell us anything about the shooter? What was found in his trailer, or any of his background that may give us some insight on why he may have snapped off like this?
Okay. We got, and we, honestly, a lot of this we don't know. He had multiple firearms in the trailer, and had evidently lived in his trailer and moved from place to place. And we had a ranger that interviewed some of his relatives yesterday afternoon that said he had been acting strange and had kind of twisted a little further off center sometime back, like in the spring, and moved on. I don't think they kept real close contact with him. But what was, pushing him toward this, I honestly can't say at this point. I don't know. It'd be pure speculation of what it is.
Did he seem, you said he had multiple firearms?
Pardon?
And you said he had multiple
There
firearms
were
in his?
numerous firearms in the trailer,
Did
yes.
he seem like he was preparing for anything, or was he a gun enthusiast, or?
He was, of course, I don't know his background well enough to know about the gun enthusiast. He was prepared for any kind of situation, yes. I think he was.
Sheriff, in regards to the citizen shooter, obviously he acted responsibly. Did he act legally?
You know, the best I can tell at this point, of course, the investigation is still continuing. Yes, I believe he acted under the code of the law. You know.
Did he have a concealed carry or anything like that?
Pardon?
Did he have concealed carry or
Not
something?
that I know of. No, I don't think he did, matter of fact. In fact, he retrieved this gun from his trailer, which was his residence, and used it to defend himself and the officer.
So he would not have to have a concealed carry?
No, he's not gonna come under a heading on me, concealed handgun point at this point.
Chief Mercer, is this considered a good shooting?
Yes.
This is, I guess,
Go ahead.
the Ranger's actually doing, you know, the shooting investigation per se. We assisted him out there. And everything I've seen on this is a clean shooting. It was handled commendably by the officer. I don't think he had an option. And he was under fire when he arrived, and he handled himself very well.
How's the officer doing today after the shooting?
He's good. He slept last night, and he's doing okay today. He's just gonna spend time with family today, so.
Can you tell us the time frame, like how long the whole incident took? Because it seems it went really fast.
Really quick.
It started, or it probably started before we got the call on it. The call went out around 1:30, and I felt like probably the man and the woman and the dog started being killed at this point. And the officer responded and arrived just shortly thereafter.
So obviously the people were killed with a handgun.
Yes. that is
You know what the
correct.
caliber was?
It appeared to have been a 9mm.
Can you, had this been going on, the warnings
They
from
had-
the, like, the days previous, or was this a one-day thing?
They had word previously. How far back it tracks back, I don't know. I know the day before yesterday had word of the dog being in his yard also.
Was Stephen under fire as he was getting out of the car, or what was the actual scenario?
Looks like he pulled up, was fixing to get out of the car. He spotted the suspect, and was able to retreat to the back of his car and start taking up the position before the shots came to him.
He returned fire with an assault rifle?
Yes.
Was he able to retrieve that rifle as he was getting out of his car, or was
Yes.
it in his trunk, or?
No, it's mounted in the cab or in the front seat with him. When he came out with it.
He had, you know, knowledge that he was responding to a shooting situation and didn't actually know what he had. I think most of us, when we got that call, we weren't certain what we were certain to respond to. We went out there also.
When you guys obviously trained to respond to something like this, being fired upon, maybe as you approach a scene, correct? I mean, you
Yes.
guys.
We tried for these scenarios, and of course, you can't cover all of them, and you always wish for more training, but we have in the past trained for this type of scenario. And this officer in particular, at that time, he worked sheriff's office, I only took part in that, and he's been through some additional training.
Yes, he's been through several trainings that cover this type of situation. His response and actions were textbook.
I just feel like, in a nutshell, the officer is to be commended for his actions, and the citizens here also are to be commended for his actions. Both of them acted commendably, I think.
Did the officer and the citizen get to have words? Did they meet each other, or do you know about that?
Not that I know of,
Not
not
at
at
this
this
time.
point, they haven't, I don't think.
Maybe at a later date, but at the time, the officer was removed from the scene, brought back to the office.
obviously there is, anytime an officer is involved in a shooting, I guess there'll be an investigation into that shooting, or how
Absolutely.
does that?
All goes with the ranger's investigation, and then, it'll eventually go to grand jury clearing and everything.
Does that also go for the citizen shooter?
I'm sorry,
Does that also go for the citizen shooter?
that's.
I feel like this would probably go before grand jury also. This is just standard procedure. I just feel like all the steps need to be followed. I don't think either one of them got anything to worry about. They go back to committee.
I guess y'all confiscated all the weapons from his.
We have gathered a
suspects?
considerable amount of evidence from his trailer at this time. We haven't processed all of it yet. And I don't actually have an account of what all it is I gather at this point. We've got evidence locked and full of stuff.
Do you know if he had any things he was not supposed to, any illegal weapons or anything like that?
I didn't see any type of full automatic type weapons or anything that would be prohibited by law, no.
And did he have a record of some sort or anything like that?
I've not found any criminal history at all.
No criminal history.
I think the number of firearms I heard earlier alluded to was 5 or 6. Is that still?
Pardon?
5 or 6 firearms? Is that the?
There was probably in that neighborhood, yes, and I'd have to count off again to be sure.
All types, I mean.
And of course, part of these were in his residence, which he's entitled to have. This is his residence too. And I think I guess on firearms he had outside, he had pistols. 2 pistols, a shotgun, and a rifle. The rifle and the pistol what came into play.
Was the couple I read, they were from out of town, had been staying there for a couple of months? Were they here working, or they were a retired couple, do you know?
I think they worked, what I received yesterday, basically they worked for the owner of the trailer park, I believe, kind of part-time. He also runs Peach Orchard and this travel trailer setup also. So I think they had worked for him for a short time.
Did the citizen shooter know them personally, or?
I'm sorry.
Do you know if the citizen shooter knew the victims personally?
He had met all of them, yes. He had been there for some time too, and it's just a small trailer park, and most of these people have been there for a fairly lengthy amount of time to contact the neighbors, and they can talk with all of them in one point or another.
It says Connor fired upon the witness shooter and then Sergeant Means. Do you know if there were words between the witness shooter and Connor at all?
The victim shooters? I'm sorry, I wondered.
I'm sorry, the witness shooter and Connor, do you know if there was an exchange there? Did they speak?
No, not at that point probably. I think when he got the gun, the shooting had already started. He was aware of a situation that he could see some bodies on the ground, and I'm not sure he knew the full impact of what took place at that moment.
I guess he heard the gunshots first and then reacted.
Sure. These are all in, fairly close proximity, and of course trailers are not so insulated that you don't hear much what's going on around you, so.
Any, as far as other people living around that area, were there any kids around that saw what happened?
Didn't see any kids at all. There was, of course, the citizen shooter, and there was 2 other witnesses that lived in the trailer park, both male adults, they're by themselves.
And they also saw what happened?
They heard a lot of it. They didn't particularly see what it went on. They saw bodies, they heard shots. They knew something was going on. One of them was the one that called 911.
They were allowed to have pets at this residence, correct?
As far as we know, pets
Were
allowed.
allowed.
Yes, as far as I know, they were, yes. They picked up 2 beds, a small dog, a poodle type, and then a bigger, I guess call them a collie line, I guess, a long, medium-sized dog, mid-sized dog. I can't picture the poodle or anything being aggressive enough to set him off to do this, but I can't understand this guy's mental state anyway. Thought never would.
When's the last time you had a officer fired upon in this area? It's been a while?
years, I believe.
Yeah.
Bowie?
Blue Circle, may have been,
Circle.
and you may have been the last one. We've been to some other incidents where people have shot themselves, it offers came to the door.